Hey guys, this is Arnoblus98, and here is my first LEGO Transformer of the year, and this is Dropkick from Transformers Bumblebee, or the Bumblebee movie. Yeah, I was gonna keep it a surprise, but the thumbnail and my work in progress pictures kind of spoiled it, so yes, he is a triple changer. He goes from car to helicopter to robot, and this is my first triple changer with two distinct modes, unlike Mixmaster or Megatron from Revenge of the Fallen. Yeah, so at first I thought it would be impossible to make a triple changer from the movie out of Lego, but my friend 97 Lego Maniac, he ended up making his own triple changing Shatter and later a Dropkick, and that's what inspired me to make a Dropkick over here. And you should definitely check him out. His videos for those two are going to come very soon. So the total build time was about a week, which is actually kind of short. Things came together pretty quickly. But I have to make a lot of like mental event diagrams, like, oh, certain things only work in 2 out of the 3 modes or something, or yeah, stuff like that. I decided to go with Dropkick first because he had more vehicle mode parts in robot mode, so he would technically be easier. Yeah, I am making Shatter next. Actually have started a tiny bit. Here's some bits, so you guys can stop with the requests. So. I don't think I'll have her done for a while. So yeah, so I'm very happy with the end result for Dropkick, but in order to get him to work, I did have to break a lot of rules I had for my usual Transformers, since you're the triple changer. So a lot of attachments and connections aren't as like sturdy as I would want them to be, but that's perfectly fine considering what he can do. And to start, here is his car mode. He is an AMC Javelin, and yeah, I think I like how the car mode turned out. There's some flaws, and just looking around, you can see my build process for this guy. I started with the back first, then I worked on the front, and then I started to make my way towards the middle, which is why the middle is kind of messy, and like it's very like thin here. It's kind of like gappy in some spots, and well, that's the best I could do. I'm happy with this car mode, though I wouldn't be too happy if he just turned from car to robot. That would need some work, but. Yeah, one thing I couldn't do, the rims are supposed to be black, but I wish these pieces came in black because they're very useful, so that's not really a big deal. You can see you got the lights in the front, and the grille, and a little engine block on top, and the windshield. This car mode is kind of plain compared to Shatter, and you got the tail lights in the back here. And towards the top here, you can see some bits here, it's kind of messy, but other than that, I think I got the colors down well. And flipping it over to the bottom, not much to see here. You do see the cockpit over here, and I think yeah, it's a solid car mode. It holds together pretty well, and it's not that bad to get him into car mode. It doesn't take too long. And for features, he doesn't really do much, but he can roll, which I'm very surprised he can do. He rolls very well actually. And for a size comparison, you got Ravage, you got a minifigure. I also got another blue truck I've done in the past. Here's Revenge of the Fallen Wheelie. And here he is next to his rival Bumblebee from the movie. And yeah, Bumblebee is obviously a smaller car than Dropkick. And for a standard car, we got Crosshairs. And for fun, here's another Dropkick. This is a Dropkick from the first Transformers movie, the toy line, in the video game. He wasn't actually in the movie. But and now onto the transformation. Well, part 1, he does have 3 different modes, so technically there are 6 possible ways to go between the 3 modes, but I'm just going to go to helicopter because it's more interesting to see a car go into a helicopter. And the concept of his transformation is relatively simple. Like, it's very linear. The front of the car will become the front of the helicopter, and the back of the car will become the back of the helicopter. Same for robot mode, except the front will become the top, and then the back will become the bottom for the legs. The only problem is it is slightly fragile. Going to helicopter and going from anything to helicopter is very fragile, so. And to start, you just gotta flip him over and come over here. His hands actually tab into his hips over here. You just wanna untab them or unclip them. And this section will flop forward here. And then you wanna rotate the whole arm around like this. And fold the wheel up like that. And same for this side, just wanna unclip this, fold this over like that, and then rotate it, and then flip it like this. And then now you gotta come to the top here, and you gotta undo this tab here. This will tab into the side windshields like that. And you gotta fold this outwards, fold it down, and then you gotta fold this up and just fold it out like that, just for now. As you can see, the back would flop down because the tabs are gone. And then you just gotta do the same thing for this side. And you're gonna come to this part here. This is the most fragile thing I have on him. This section will actually detach from here a lot, but you need this for helicopter mode. If he was just a car or robot, this part would be a lot more secure, but this is probably the biggest sacrifice I have to make in terms of stability. You gotta rotate that like this. And then coming over here, oops, you see the back will flop down, and then you gotta, over here, just lift this entire section up. This will become the rotor. I'll fold that out later, but yeah. And then for the legs, you gotta rotate these 180. And for the legs here, you gotta just split them like that. This part will come out, but you just gotta put this back in. And then you gotta rotate this section around. And you can fold it up for now. It's gonna play a very important role later. And do that. Then you gotta rotate the legs up. And then you gotta rotate these around to this side. I hope we can see that well because it's all like black, but then you gotta fold the section outwards, and then you gotta fold the section up. There are like a lot of hinges inside here, but they're kind of easy to memorize if you have them in hand. Then you gotta fold this small section onto this hinge here, and then you gotta unfold this section, and then fold this section out, which this blue part, and then on this hinge, this section here will just stay here. You just gotta shift it out as far as possible. Rotate this down, and like that. And that is one half of the helicopter tail. Then you gotta take this section here, rotate this one on this jumper plate, rotate this back, rotate this in, shift it a little bit, and then this panel here will kind of fold in and keep this in place. And it's almost the same thing as the other side, but okay, you can see that come off, but that is always bound to happen. Grab this section here, turn this 180 like that, fold the section up, so you want to rotate this around like this, and then you gotta rotate this section like that, fold it, shift it, and this section here will just kind of push in and keep us into place. Now this section here will shift, this will go down a little bit, and on this side you actually have the rear propeller blade, so you gotta rotate this around like this, just like 180, and fold the section up, fold this down, and you gotta unlock it because this piece, if you have seen it before, like you have to push these sections out and then rotate them, and they become the very tiny propeller blades, and that gives you the room to bring the legs together here, just like that. They don't tab in, but they're just gonna come together. I don't know. And you can see these little sections come off, which is very unfortunate. And next, this is becoming a big mess, but you want to fold all this back here. And then this joint inside here where that holds the ball joint needs to be put up 90 degrees. So you rotate him on this giant rod that kind of connects everything together. There are a lot of these pieces in Dropkick because they go hold multiple parts together at once and save space. Just like that. And then you gotta fold all this up. I guess I could flip them upside down. And then we get to these fragile bits, and then this is the reason why they're fragile, because you need to fold this out. Rotate these 180. You rotate these this way here, like that. And same for this side, just grab them. Rotate them. And then fold the section up. And you can see they're going to meet in the middle right here, which is a very nice touch here. They just meet like that. And then coming over here, like this, and fold over the doors. And okay, yeah, that part will flop down just for now. And coming over here, you can see this is the front of the car, but if you rotate this up, that's the front of the helicopter, which is something very neat. That's one of the first things I figured out. And it saves a lot of space having the two connected back to back. That will fold up like that. And this section here is gonna rotate down. The front windshield is gonna it's gonna meet up with the slope that forms the bottom of the car. They're gonna kinda like come together like that. And we're gonna deal with that later, but first we gotta deal with all this over here. Oh no. Yeah, sorry for the long break. Stuff just kept coming off, but you gotta tab this section into here, as I said before. Hopefully this will work. Okay, just like that. And then just gotta push them in. Yeah, there you go, it worked. There you go. You just have to rearrange this whole like spine area just like a lot of times, and then it'll hold together. And then you gotta just, oh, yeah, this likes to come off, of course. And then you just gotta tab this into place again. Now it's tabbed in place. And then now come over here, just fold this down, straighten this out. And then at this point, you can just fold the wheels up here. They're just gonna sit there. Same for this side. And then now he can sit on the ground, which makes it a lot easier. And then now we deal with the top over here. This section will fold in like that. And then coming up here, this was actually like the little random gaps, the cause of the random gaps in car mode. But these are propellers. They kind of just fold out like that. And you fold this out. You fold this out like that. And you gotta push this section in, and this will actually put the propeller into place. And you do have to do a little like mashing over here to get all this in the right position, because this is the roof of the car previously. And you gotta fold this down like that, and that should meet up with this section over here. Then you straighten this out here, and you fold this out here. And now for the doors, they're pretty cool. Come over here, you want to take the windows and rotate them in like that. And now you can bring this section back up, and this will rotate around like that. There are like a lot of little hinges here. Then you gotta fold this up and fold this up again like that. And this window section will kind of meet up with the helicopter top here. And same for this side. Fold this into the doors. And then you gotta rotate this around. And you gotta fold this up, and then you gotta fold this parallel to the rest of the helicopter mode. Just like that, and then you gotta fold all this up. The tab inside here came undone, so you just gotta push it in again. And just straighten things out. And this is pretty much it for the helicopter mode, except my friend, a good friend Jalen rocks out. He told me that I was missing the little wings on the side of the helicopter, and I realized I can do that, but if you fold out the fenders here, like this, fold this section up, and you rotate this, and the wheel just stick right there. There's one wing, and the same for the other side, like that. There. Just gonna mush these together, and then set the helicopter on the ground. And rearranging a few little things here or there, just little adjustments and stuff. Here's Dropkick in his helicopter mode. He is a Super Cobra helicopter, and I don't know, I really like this thing. Like, I got most of the shape right. The biggest problem with his helicopter mode is that it kind of changes color. Like, this thing is supposed to be like almost all light gray, like the Studio Series toy, but I want to prioritize car mode and robot mode coloring. So if this was all gray, I would really like this thing. But right now it looks like kind of drifts helicopter mode, but I'm very proud of the shaping too. Yeah, it holds together kind of well. Like, the bottom of the helicopter mode actually is very clean. The arms come together and form this nice little base for the helicopter to sit on. And just move down like this. Yeah, I got the little wings. The front cockpit is all gray because it's all gray in robot mode, so it stays like that. And the big difference is the actual helicopter in the movie has 4 rotor blades. I can only fit 2, just like the Studio Series toy, in order to fit in robot and car mode, but it does spin very well. Like, there you go. Kind of hide the wheels inside here. It does mass shift. It's very long and skinny. I like the shaping over here, how this part actually tapers in, because these are like the rear fenders technically, back of the car. And I did have the tiny propeller over here. It's barely noticeable since it's all black. Once again, ideally this would all be light gray. And whatever is here is kind of messy with the hinges. It's fine. But one of my favorite parts is that the doors here actually kind of resemble the air intakes in the helicopter. And yeah, another thing I couldn't get was a little landing skid the helicopter has, which the Studio Series toy has. Not a big deal. But one of the cooler things is that the front engine for car mode actually kind of sticks here, and it looks like a little machine gun, which is very cool. And a little random thing I made for his little photo shoot. Here's a little flight stand. It's gonna tab right into this little divot here. Just like, it's not gonna tab, he's just gonna rest on it. And he sits down there very well. Yeah. Once again, I'm very happy with this helicopter mode. I kind of like it almost as much as car mode, which is kind of strange. Even though this thing is just kind of like, I just really like the shape of it. Just the biggest problem is the colors, which is something that you can't really do since his alt modes do kind of change colors. I'll just sit on there, and then you could spin the propeller. There you go. And for size comparisons, we have a minifigure, and then we got Ravage. And next up we got Bumblebee in its car mode. As you can see, the Dropkick has gained a lot of length. And another comparison, here's another helicopter transformer I have. Here is Skyhammer from Dark of the Moon. You can see they look kind of similar. This guy is not supposed to be a Super Cobra, it's like a made-up helicopter, but yeah. This is actually my second helicopter transformer after Blackout from the first movie I made a while back. Alright, now for transformation into robot mode. Ideally, the easiest transformation is anything from car to robot, because as you saw before, helicopter is very painful to get him into this mode, but I'll still do it anyway for consistency's sake. Yeah, so what you're going to want to do first is come over here and kind of untab these arm areas from the back of the hips, like that, and you can fold it down, and like this, you can fold it down. Okay, and this part just came out with it, but it's not a big deal. That comes off too. Now you gotta take the intakes here and you gotta rotate them back. Like that. And then you gotta rotate all this back here too. For stability's sake, because it's more stable when it's in this position. And then the wings here, or the door wings, are gonna rotate back down. This is essentially just turning him back into a car. And then the front bumper, of course, rotates around and folds up like this. And fold this together, just like that. Actually, you want to fold the door down, rotate this up, just for now. And put this back where it was originally. And then you gotta just rotate this around like the other side. Fold it in. Rotate all this up like that. Swing it down. And then you gotta rotate this section around like this. You're essentially just forming the car again, like I said before. And then you're gonna just fold these doors up. Just fold these doors up. Fold that down. And then now I'm going to deal with the legs first. These are actually very interesting, because they're the first thing I figured out. You come over to here, these are the tabs for car mode, for the arms to go into. You just fold these back for now. You shift this down just for now. And coming over here, this little tab that kept falling off, you rotate that to the back. And now for each leg, you gotta rotate this forward. And normally you rotate these around, but they're already in position. You rotate this around, and just like going to car mode, you rotate this like that, like on this little hinge here. And then you shift it forward, and that'll give you the room to pull this section back, and then back, and then shift it like that. And then on this joint over here, you can see stuff falling off in the back, but it's fine. Rotate this down, like that, like that. Okay, yeah, there's not really a set way to do it. You just kind of mash these together. Like, there's the clearance, but like you just fold this inwards like that, and then you fold it like this. It's kind of hard to follow, but it's okay. Like that, fold it out, this. And in this section, rotate it around. And then you fold this section out. And this section will come down like that. And they'll just form one solid leg. And there's one leg done. And same for this side. You rotate this around. You shift this. And then you gotta wiggle this around like that. And then you gotta fold it up. And then shift down a little bit. Let's give the clearance to fold this down. Actually shift this upwards and fold it back. That's the heel spur. And then for this section here, just like the other side, however, you do have this little like bottom propeller piece here. You gotta rotate this all the way around like that. These two sections will meet up in the middle, just for like storage, and fold that. And then this is gonna fold in like that, and this is going to fold in like that, keeping the whole leg together. And then the toe just folds up like that. And those are the two legs. Gotta rotate all this around like that on that ball joint here. And then coming over here, folding this door down. Folding out like that. You want to rotate this 180 on this other pair of ball joints. They're like, you can see the three sections: legs, upper body, in the middle. Each section rotates in different ways for each mode, which is interesting. And then you gotta actually coming up to the front. I'm gonna deal with the arms first. Right now it's a big mess, but you want to rotate this 180 like that. And then you gotta shift this section inwards like that. Fold this up for now. Same for this section. You just pretty much reversing all this. Like that. And that gives you the clearance to bring these upwards like that. And then coming over here, once again, this big joint needs to be rotated around. It just needs to be folded 90 degrees like that. And you can see the whole body. This is all going to collapse in. But before we do that, this section that had the front of the car, front of the truck or car, or front of the helicopter actually holds the head inside, which I think is very neat. So you got to fold that out for now. And then you got to rotate this up. And then, yeah, you see his head in there. You just grab that and fold it out. I think this is very smooth how it turned out. And then you rotate this back to its original position, like in helicopter mode. And now we can start collapsing things. Fold this section down like that. I'm going to leave them like that. But this whole, the helicopter blade you keep up. This whole section is going to flop over the front windshield on these system of hinges here. And before you do that, you wanna push this section out first so it goes over the windshield, because like that, and you keep folding that around. And then you take the rotors, of course, rotate them down. And now we're just gonna keep putting everything together. You got this whole backpack section. Yeah, everything's gonna come apart. You gotta fold this section down like this, and then you're gonna fold all this up, and you're gonna kind of see this section is gonna kind of go behind the grill here once all this comes together. And now you want to take this section, fold it all the way upwards like this. Now you want to fold this along like that, like this, and then like that. And now you can collapse this a little bit, just like that. And then coming over to the top here, you want to make this so this section clears. It's gonna rest like right on top of the engine and form this little like back plate here, which is cool. And then all this is gonna come together. Keep moving that, and now we get to work on the arms. The whole things that keep coming off this whole time. Now for the arms, you want to rotate these sections up like that. Fold it back down, and then the front bumper areas that are left over, rotate upwards. And you want to kind of make the wheel come as close to that as possible, and then rotate that into position like that. And then for the arm transformation, you can pretty much stand them up at this point. Actually, these panels here can shift up a tiny bit, not too high because they're going to limit leg articulation, but just enough so that you could bend the knees a little more. That. And this part is very cool. You gotta rotate this section back. Okay, that comes off sometimes too, which is weird because that part didn't come apart in the prototype, but at the same time the arms would pop off in the prototype a lot too. You gotta rotate this section around. This is not something I would conventionally do on a transformer. Like that. And then you gotta rotate this section inwards. And coming over here, you gotta rotate this section out 180 degrees. And fold it back in like that. And this section here, and this is one of my favorite bits, in robot mode, you gotta fold this section down, just wiggle it down a little bit, and now this part will just plug right into there. And same for this side. Hopefully it does not like crumble like the other side did. You rotate that up. It's long lanky arms right now. And then you rotate this around, fold this up into the position, and then you want to rotate this, like that, and then you want to rotate this 180, and then this section, shift down, rotate, and then this part will plug right into here. And Dropkick is almost done. This is a very long transformation. But last but not least, you gotta mess with the door wings here. You gotta rotate the windows back up, like in car mode. And make sure this is parallel. And then you gotta just fold all this down like this. You gotta rotate this around, shift it down, fold it up onto here. And you gotta rotate this all up and fold down. Same for this side. Just gonna fold all this up. Put the windshield back into position. Shift down. Yeah, there are a lot of tiny hinges and little plates and stuff that just move around, and there you go. And then for the wings here, you just gotta move them up, flip them out. Make sure all this is together here. You can kind of angle the rotors inward so they kind of clear this little plate here and stay into place. And of course this little piece comes out all the time. Make sure the heel spurs are good. And then folding all this out, tapping it into place. And just like that, with like a lot of adjustments here and there. Here's Dropkick in his robot mode. And yeah, I don't know, he's like one of the weirdest Transformers I've made, because this is a very clean robot mode. Obviously getting there is a very painful journey, but yeah, this robot mode, I don't know, it's one of the cleanest robot modes I've made in quite some time. If you come to the back, there's like almost no like extra kibble that's not supposed to be there. All this is all like support and stuff, and you got the blades in the back. That's why I found this design very easy to work with. And yeah, I tried the hardest to get the colors right in this mode. Obviously you can see the chest here is all gray because it's the front of the helicopter, and the sides here are blue because they're part of the car, and there's like a lot of gray sprinkled here and there. The only thing I couldn't get right is this panel in the back is supposed to be gray because it's the back of the helicopter, and the sides here are supposed to be gray, but nothing I could do. But a third-party company can easily make some kind of panel that switches over and changes colors. And yeah, the only major thing I don't like about this robot, I wish the helicopter blades were longer so I could go down, but they have to squish together in car mode, and there's supposed to be 4 of them, not 2, like I said before. But other than that, I just really like this robot mode, especially around the chest. It's kind of wide, but I did my best. This part should probably be forward more, but the head turned out okay. These are not supposed to be ears, just like making his head look thicker, but this is the best I could do since this has to fit in that tiny cavity. I like how the wheels ended up right here, and my favorite part is how the wheels ended up on his elbows. Actually, in the CGI, there's actually just half the tires on his elbow, but this is definitely the best I could do. And coming down to the legs, you do have the nice the back lights on his shins, which is nice, and the blue toes. And then coming out to the other side, you can see it's kind of hollow, which is fine because these legs do have to change size a lot in all the modes. We're on to little details and such. One thing that I'm just very happy, I got really lucky, but the door wings are actually in the correct position. In the CGI, they're actually backwards, which I don't think I've seen on a Transformer before, but due to how this is like the front of the car is actually flipped underneath, these doors can't be positioned like regularly unless they had like a bunch of hinges. So yeah, I just got lucky having these door wings in the correct position backwards. As far as articulation goes, he's actually surprisingly very posable, which is weird. His head can rotate and look up, and not really any forward. His arm articulation is kind of like the same as Bumblebee, forward and back. I didn't use any ball joints for here. Get up like that. Rotate this. This is a bicep swivel, which is kind of a interesting spot. And elbow bend, that's about it. He does have a waist articulation. You just got this little bit that keeps falling off all the time. Gotta fold that down, and then he could turn his waist sometimes like that. It's kind of weird. But the legs are definitely the best part. They could bend 90 degrees like that. Bend at the knee. He could do the whole split like that. And then his legs here don't have much articulation. He technically has a double knee bend due to transformation like that. And he can actually kneel, which is really cool. You can fold this leg back like that. His toes actually can be pivoted a little bit for transformation. Well, not that, like this section here. Because his whole foot rests on like different panels coming together to lay flat. And once again, he can kneel if you fold this section as high up as I can go. This part will bend, and yeah, he can kneel like that. When that scene where they meet the military, Dropkick's gonna be like, this is humiliating. And yeah, I hope my Shatter can do that. That'd be a nice scene of them together. And Dropkick does have a few accessories. First of all, we have his cannons. And then we have his arm blade. The arm blade just goes on his hand here. Like that, kind of like Bumblebee's. And this was used in that one scene. I'm not going to spoil that. And then the cannons. I don't know, I had fun designing these. These are kind of cool. I couldn't get too many shots of them from like blurry screenshots in the movies. But I think I came kind of close. They're very simple. They just tab on his arms. He has 2 of them. I'm not sure if he used 2 of them in the movie or just 1, but yeah, these are cool little weapons, and if you see the movie, you know what these things do. And you can get him in some pretty cool poses with or without the weapons. I don't want to spam him here, because I'm going to spam my Instagram page with them, but yeah, he is very posable. And he can also stand on a single foot, which is it's very interesting. Yeah, not too many of my Transformers can do that. But and just a quick on my turntable. I just want to show how he looks in all modes without me picking him up, or all sides for robot mode. Yeah, it's just very nice. Nah, I can't see any like unnecessary kibble on him right now. And now for some size comparisons. Here is a minifigure. Got Ravage. And here he is with his rival Bumblebee. I'll have a lot of pictures of them two fighting together, which is nice. I think the scale works fine here. Dropkick might be a little too tall. I honestly can't do anything about it because he has to fit all this like complex stuff inside him. Yeah, and for reference, here's a standard Carbot. Here's a Last Night Barricade. He's like a head or two taller. And here is Dropkick with my Optimus Prime. Obviously, he's not good. Luckily, he's not tall as Optimus, so that's good scale there. Yeah, so that is it for this video. Here's a Dropkick squaring off against Bumblebee, and yeah, I'm very happy. This robot mode is just spot on. I'm probably just gonna leave him in robot mode like most of this time from now on, but other than that, I think car mode's solid. Same with helicopter mode. Just the transformation can get kind of fragile at times, which is like acceptable because he is a triple changer, and I don't know. Some things have to be like sacrificed in order for him to do that. And yeah, the biggest problem with Dropkick right now is that I don't know how I'm gonna make Shatter just as good as him. Because Shatter doesn't have too many vehicle mode parts on her, which will make it kind of tricky. Unfortunately, I won't be able to finish Shatter for a while. Maybe not even until the summer, but I'll try my best. And besides Shatter, I only plan to build Blitzwing and Optimus. Other characters weren't too major, so I'm gonna just leave them alone. So, and yeah, I do have a stud dial 5. You want to build him and you want to mess around with him. He only has like a little more than 300 pieces, so it isn't too bad. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed Dropkick here. It was fun making him. He's kind of a mixed bag for me. I just love all the modes, but the transformation is just painful. And hopefully it didn't come out as bad on camera as I thought, because pieces did come off a lot. So yeah. So thanks for you guys for sticking around, and yeah, this guy was a fun experience making a triple changer, and I definitely hope I will continue that with Shatter. And I'll see you guys next time. Quite some time actually. So.